good afternoon, a good morning, and a good evening, and a very warm welcome to everyone joining us from Japan, Europe, and other parts of the world. Minasama, konnichiwa. My name is Jutta Hauser, and it's my pleasure to serve as your moderator for today's seminar, Your Global Innovation Journey, How the EPO Supports Japanese Innovators. まず、日本からご参考の皆様、本日はご多忙のところにご出席いただき、誠にありがとうございます。We are very delighted to see such strong participation from both Japanese and European delegates. Your presence reflects the growing importance of international cooperation in innovation and the shared commitment across our regions to support high-quality patents, efficient procedures, and stronger global IP strategies. Over the next 2 hours, we will explore practical tools and services offered by the European Patent Office, including PCT-Link, the Unitary Patent, and the European Patent Register, and how they can help Japanese applicants navigate the European system with greater confidence and convenience. Whether you're new to the EPO or already familiar with our procedures, we hope today's session will give you valuable insights and actionable guidance. I'm very happy to be here today with a group of very well-experienced experts from the different sides of the EPO. We are here today from the Netherlands in The Hague, from Munich in Germany, and Vienna in Austria, where I'm sitting myself. These different, very well-experienced experts of the EPO will guide us on our global innovation journey today. We encourage you to make full use of the Q&A opportunities. Please feel free to submit questions at any time through the Q&A box in the menu at the bottom, also in Japanese. 日本語でもどうぞ. After each session, as well as the end of the seminar, our experts will answer your questions live. We also welcome any comments, feedback, etc. 皆様からのご質問もぜひお寄せください. Before we start our journey today, let me explain a few technical points. This seminar will be held only in English. However, we are very pleased to offer you today an AI-powered translation into Japanese. To enable this translation, please click the up arrow next to the Show Hide Captions icon at the bottom of your screen. A menu will open where you can enable translation into Japanese. You will have the following different options to see what is being said. Captions in English only. Then you will need to disable the translations. Captions in Japanese only. Captions in English and Japanese. Please click on Show Original and Translated Captions. Additionally, you may click on View Full Transcript, which enables you to see everything that has been said during the session in the option you have been chosen. It means English original or Japanese translation only, or both side by side. You may save the full transcript on your device. At the end of the seminar, when leaving the Zoom session, you will be able to click a link to fill out a short feedback form in English or Japanese. Thank you for your kind cooperation. The seminar will be recorded. All attendees will receive the recording as well as a PDF of today's slides in a few days. Thank you once again for joining us. We appreciate your time and your commitment to strengthen ties between the Japanese and European innovation communities. どうぞよろしくお願いいたします. Let's start our journey from Japan to the international stage. Our first step might be an international or PCT filing. I'm very delighted to welcome now Elke von Brevan and Christina ten Heuvel, who will guide us through the services and tools the EPO offers. whether you choose the EPO as a receiving office or only as a supplementary international search authority or international preliminary examination authority. Elke, Christina, perhaps you could start by telling us a few words about yourself.
Good morning. Thank you, Jutta. I'm Elke von Breven. I'm working here at the EPO in the legal area, and my main responsibility is indeed the PCT. And therefore, I'm happy to be here today and to give our participants a bit of an overview of the EPO's ISA and the PCT link.
Good morning or good afternoon. My name is Christina ten Heuvel. I work as a key account manager and procedural expert. I've worked many years also in the procedural area with our internal users and have then since 10 years taken the role as key account manager, working with our customers. And the focus of my work is the digitization and our electronic tools, which will be also part, in a way, especially the electronic notifications of today's presentation. Thank you.
Great. Then I will share our presentation. So again, a very warm welcome from me and from Christina. We have the pleasure to give you an overview and practical advice about the EPO as International Searching Authority and how you can receive the PCT mail from the EPO electronically. So let me start with the overview of the EPO as International Searching Authority, so-called ISA. The initial condition, if the EPO may act as ISA for an international application, lays with the receiving office, where the international application was filed. This receiving office has to specify the EPO as ISA. At present, applicants from 152 PCT contracting states out of 158 may indeed select the EPO as ISA. Also, the JPO, the Japan Patent Office, has specified the EPO as ISA for their applicants. Therefore, nationals and residents of Japan as applicants may select the EPO as ISA when filing an international application, either with the JPO or the IB, the International Bureau of WIPO, as receiving office. Later in the PCT procedure, if the applicant decides to file a demand for international preliminary examination, also called Chapter 2, the EPO may also be selected as International Preliminary Examination Authority, so-called IPEA. Further, we have the following requirements. The EPO may only act as ISA for nationals and residents of Japan in case the international application was filed in English, which with one of the two possible receiving offices, which are, as said before, the Japan Patent Office or the International Bureau. The EPO is not possible as receiving office. When filing the international application with the request form, the PCT RO 101, the selected ISA has to be indicated in box number 7 and also in box number 2 of the fee calculation sheet. Talking or mentioning fees, the fees that are falling due on filing of an international application and have to be paid with the receiving office are the transmittal fee. This is for the benefit of the receiving office. the international filing fee for the benefit of the IB, and the international search fee for the benefit of the ISA. In case of a demand for Chapter 2, you need to pay to the International Preliminary Examination Authority the preliminary examination fee for the benefit of the IPEA and the handling fee, that is for the benefit of the IB. So please note that when the EPO was selected as ISA, then the EPO will be the only competent IPEA to be selected. So having selected the EPO as ISA or IPEA brings advantages when entering later into the European phase before the EPO. Because the EPO has already done the international search, there will be not another supplementary European search carried out. This means no search fee is due on entry into the European phase. And without that search, you may save 12 months time during the European phase. Christina will show you in more detail the possible means of acceleration in a minute. One more advantage when entering into the European phase is that in case the EPO has carried out the international preliminary examination, the European examination fee is reduced by 75%. If you want to look more deeper into the topic or get more information, we have added here on this slide for you the links to the respective parts of the guidelines for search and examination at the EPO as PCT authority. But now, over to you, Christina, for the means of acceleration.
When you have a look at the normal phase and the normal time limits of the international phase, then you see here from your oldest priority, 31 months later, the European phase is entered. The international phase ends after 30 months, and a lot of offices wish you also then to enter the regional phase after the date. The time limit to enter the regional phase with the EPO is 31 months. Or from the date of filing, of course, if there is no priority. The international search carried out by the EPO is done in a speedy and concise way. Our actual time limit, internal time limits, which is reached these days, also is 4 to 6 months, after which you can then expect the international search report with a written opinion that indicates already to you the patentability of your innovation. Optionally, we have seen that in the slide before, you can then also choose the EPO as IPER if you wish to have an additional report under the Chapter 2 of the PCT. Then, after the 31 months, you enter the regional phase with the EPO, and then you have a time limit of 6 months to amend your application. You can make amendments to your claims or to your description. Maybe it's based on the results of the international search report. If the EPO was the international searching authority, there is no supplementary search. That means that you save the time limit that we would need to prepare and to send this international search report. Because we don't do that because we have carried out the international search report. And also if there is a supplementary search report, because another patent office was the international searching authority, then after the supplementary search report in the European phase, you would be asked if you wish to proceed further with your application. And this is also a communication setting a time limit of 6 months. So in this case, if the EPO was the International Searching Authority, you save already 12 months compared to a case where the EPO was not the International Searching Authority. Once the substantive examination has started in the regional phase, there is a program called PACE, under which you can request free of charge the acceleration of the procedure. There are also possibilities to enter early. Usually after the international search, you could consider to not wait until 31 months, but to file your entry into the regional phase immediately, and therefore start with the procedure and the examination earlier. You have also the possibility to additionally waive the communication inviting you to amend the application, which is automatically triggered upon entry into the European phase. If in your form 1200, it's our internal form that you use for the entry into the regional phase, you can select a box and tick there the option to waive this communication. This is saving you another 6 months. But of course, please make sure that in this case, all your amendments are filed together with the entry into the European phase, and also possible claims fees are paid upon entry immediately.
Thank you, Christina. This brings us now to how you, as an international agent or applicant, can receive your communications from the EPO as ISA or IPA. The EPO is not sending out official communications via email. So please, that's really important. No emails with the communications. Rather, the EPO offers its users an electronic mailbox within the My EPO. The My EPO can be found on the EPO's website. We will show you in a moment how this looks in practice. The EPO has already delivered EP communications electronically and securely into electronic mailboxes for more than 10 years. Already since a few years, also all communications that are issued by the EPO in the international phase are able to be delivered to the electronic mailbox. In particular, for international agents and non-European applicants via the so-called PCT link functionality within the mailbox. So if you, as such an international agent or applicant, want to receive your communications in the electronic mailbox, you first have to create an account within the My EPO. Since July 2023, the EPO is offering as a secure access to the My EPO a two-factor authentication. At the same time, the EPO started to offer the PCT link functionality within the mailbox. So what is PCT link? When you file a PCT form PCT RO 101 with the receiving office JP or IB, you may indicate your email address as part of entering your address. PCT link functionality allows you now to establish a link between this email address of the PCT RO 101 and your mailbox account in My EPO. When you have established the PCT link, and when then in an international application where you have indicated such linked email address, for example, an international search report is issued, it will be delivered to your linked electronic mailbox. And this happens without any delay. So this is in fact the quickest way to receive communications from the EPO. Let's start again with going to the EPO's website. Christina, would you like to show our participants how their journey starts there?
Yes, exactly. I'll show you how to set up the mailbox and to receive the communication. On our homepage, you find on the top various icons, and you see there applying for a patent. And this is the starting point to access all our tools. Whether you want to file, whether you want to see your applications, to receive, to have access to your mailbox, or if you want to make payments as well. So under applying for a patent, a submenu will open, and then please choose My EPO Services as starting point. When you have chosen that, there are various options as well, like for instance filing, but you will then choose Interact with us on your files. And what you see here then is the blue icon, Open My EPO. My EPO is starting point is a suite of different tools and services where you find your mailbox, an overview of applications and patents that you have filed. If you have done so, you can see also your company member who have an EPO account. And if you click on Open My EPO, you can log on with your EPO account. And Elke will explain to you what this means and how this is set up.
Thank you, Christina. We come now here to the two-factor authentication. Because in the first step, before you can enter any My EPO products, you have to get your account and to set up the two-factor authentication. So here, the first step is you have to enter an email address. This can be your office address, whatever you at your company have as a policy. But this, remember, this email address will then be used by the system as your sign-on name. And you have to select and enter a password. In a second step, you're prompted to pick your first two-factor authentication method. You can later choose several, and in fact, we even recommend to have at least 2 different two-factor authentication methods activated. Maybe you change your phone and the app is not there yet at the new phone, but if you still use the same phone number, you will still be able to receive a text code. So what are the options you may choose from? We have here at present the Okta Verify app, Google Authenticator. Both are apps for the smartphone and can be found where you usually get your smartphone apps. You can also choose a text code sent to your cell phone, or choose that a code is sent to your email address. Or, if you wish, even a voice call is possible. The access to the My EPO was hopefully then successful. So, Christina, would you like to show how the journey continues?
Yes, absolutely. When you have logged on to My EPO, this is what you will see on your screen. You see there are different areas, among others, the mailbox, and some other options. But for us, setting up the mailbox and speaking about electronic notifications, there are two areas important. One is the mailbox and one is the admin area. And in order to activate electronic notification, we have to focus on the admin area, where you have to configure certain settings. Most importantly, in the admin area, you see on the left side 3 different tabs: company members, mailbox recipients, and mailbox settings. And in all 3, you have to do something, and then the mailbox is set up. Under mailbox settings, you find the mailbox for your company. It is per default deactivated. If you wish to receive your communications electronically, click on this button and switch on the mailbox. Then it will change to the mailbox and then the name of your company is activated. At this moment, however, no mail will come to your mailbox because we have to define first the mailbox recipients before the mail can be routed to your mailbox. In the next step, you will have a look at the company members. It can be that it is only yourself if you're the only person in your company who has created an EPO account with multi-factor authentication, and if you are the only one who will handle these PCT communications coming from the EPO. However, you have to give yourself or one of your colleagues access to the mailbox, because only then this mailbox area is visible to the user, and only then you can click on it and have access to any communications. So that is important that at least one user is also a mailbox user. Per default, all company members do not have access to the mailbox, so you would need to select the person, click on this icon here, and switch from no rights to yes. Once you have done that, this mailbox area will appear in My EPO for this person, and they have access. And in the last step, then we will set up the so-called PCT link as recipient. Because before the EPO can send mail electronically, we need to know who is the mailbox recipient. To do so, in the tab Recipient, click on Request a PCT link. Then a menu will open, and you can then configure, as Elke will explain to you, your mailbox, your email address as unique identifier for the EPO to route the electronic communications to your mailbox.
Thanks, Christina. So I have, regarding the email address, one extra information. So let me give some background to this, what you can see here now on the screen, this new selection option for notification method within WIPO's ePCT. In March earlier this year, WIPO released a new ePCT version which introduced this change. Before this new version, the International Bureau of WIPO was sending their communications as an attachment via email. Now, with this new release, the user can choose how they want to receive their communications from the IB. Either as you are used to via email with attachment, or via your ePCT account. Then you will receive an email with a link to the ePCT account where you can download the communication. But now back to the PCT link here at the EPO. So here on this slide, you see a screenshot from the rendered PDF of the PCT R0101 in the agent section. So next to the name and address that has been entered, the user has indicated in box 415 an email address. You can see it highlighted here on the screen. So keep this email address in mind, that what you fill in here in this R0101 field is now relevant for this screen that you see here. This is now the dialog box that is displayed after you, or if you are not having administrator rights, then your mailbox administrator has clicked on Request PCT link, as Christina had shown before. So by filling out this dialog box and sending the request, you are here asking the EPO to link the email address that you enter in the box at the bottom here to this mailbox. So, and the email that you should enter here is exactly the email address that we have just seen in the slide before. This means the email address that you have indicated in the PCT R0101. This one you use here to fill in the dialog box, and you then get the PCT link done on our side in the background. So what only is left, you click here on send the request. And then
Okay, what happens then is that you receive an email from the EPO, an automated one, because we want you to confirm and finish the setup of the mailbox. To avoid abuse, of course, we are sending then this automated email to the email address you have indicated. In this email address, you find the fields where you can click on, and then you sign into My EPO Portfolio. As Elke has shown before, you use then again your multi-factor authentication. You log on with email, password, and the second factor to authenticate. The email is staying for, it will expire after a certain time limit. If you did not activate, then nothing will happen. It has expired. If you click on the field and log on to My EPO, then you see this new communication here, and you have to agree to set up this PCT link for this mailbox. And if you have then understood the information and you have agreed, this PCT link is active. And from that moment on, your mail will be routed to the mailbox. So any PCT communication the EPO generates from this moment on will then end up in the mailbox. If you click then on recipients, you will see here under PCT link your email address, and electronic communication is active. And you can also easily remove the PCT link if you don't need it anymore. If you have different email addresses, you can add more than one PCT link as well, depending on how you work and how you wish to work. And this has completed then the configuration of the mailbox. And then Elke will now show you in the area mailbox, which you see on top to the left hand here, the tab mailbox, how the communications look like.
indeed, Christina. So here on your mailbox screen, if you and all your colleagues that you have given access to this mailbox, they can go to the inbox. And in here, you can see all the mail that you have received from the EPO. basically for all international applications for which you have indicated in the PCT-RO 101 the same email address as used for the PCT link. Of course, you can also add multiple email addresses via the PCT link functionality. So you just have to repeat the steps that Christina has shown before for each email address that you want to add to your account. In this screen, you can see on the left-hand side several folders, and the upper part are predefined filter folders. For example, unread or deleted. Beneath, there are customized folders that you can create as you wish and as it suits your process on your side. For each document in the inbox, you get here in the overview already some data like when the document was sent, the application number, your reference, the applicant, and the recipient. So now let's download one of these international search reports. So you can download single mail items one by one, or if you want, you can select by clicking on this square, the square box on the left side. Then you select all and you get all of the communications in one go downloaded. So here you can see that you get the full international search report package downloaded, from the search report to the written opinion, the search strategy, and the cited documents. All together is coming from one zip file. As said, this is indeed the quickest way to get your communications from the EPO. So thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, we now have a few minutes time for answering them.
Thank you, Elke and Christina, for guiding us through the electronic communication options via My EPO Mailbox and the PCT link. I think participants now have a very clear understanding of how to access international phase documents such as search reports and written opinions more efficiently, especially for PCT applications filed in English. This digital approach simplifies the workflow for international agents and ensures timely access to key communications. We have here one question already, which is a more general question. And before I come to this question, I would like to encourage all attendees to put their questions they have whenever they have it in the question and answer box again. And we have a short session now for questions and answers. But if you have other questions for Christina and Elke later on, there will be at the end of the seminar, we have also some time for questions opportunities. But coming back to this question now, Christina and Elke, it's a more general question, as you might have seen, on application documents needed for micro entities when they file applications. The questions here that the person asking the question has heard that there was a need to submit even evidence concerning the number of employees and annual sales balances, etc., of the company when filing an application. Is this true or not? And what kind of documents need to be filed? Can they be filed in Japanese? Do they need to be filed in a translation? And if yes, a translation, what kind of translation has this to be, a certified one, etc.? Maybe you can say a few words with
Very
questions?
briefly answer this question because it is very detailed. And of course, if you have very detailed questions also about a specific case, you can always additionally turn to our support and ask the question in writing, and then our legal experts will have a look. Nevertheless, of course, I would like to answer these questions. It is not necessary to file all this detailed information if you file a European application with the EPO. Instead, in the form, it is the form 1001 for filing an application, you can click a box declaring that you are a micro entity within the meaning of our rules under the EPC. This declaration is sufficient. The EPO will check if the conditions are fulfilled. And if we need further evidence, then we will invite you, we will contact you and tell you what you have to provide. As a general rule, of course, we would need translations of documents in non-EPO languages into one of our languages, but it is not necessary to file all these declarations and certificates with the request for grant of a patent, only upon invitation. Also, if you make a mistake or if something is unclear, we would ask you to rectify. We will set a time limit so you are not penalized if there is unintentionally lack of information in your declaration or in your documents. We will always first clarify. And then if it turns out that you do not qualify as microentity, we would invite you to pay the full fee. I hope that's a short answer to this.
Thank you very much. Again, and as it posted already in the chat box, you will have always also after the session, after the seminar, you will have possibilities to ask any questions which are going maybe in more detail to what Christina could answer you now today at support@epo.org. But here's another question for you. About how many Japanese users have made the MyEPO accounts already? Do you know this?
I not know that, but there is a significant number of Japanese users, of non-European users already, but I do not know the number.
Okay, thank you. But it's good to hear that they are already using it, so that's remarkable. Thank you very much. And another one, what if the authenticator does not work after the mobile, when you switch your mobile phones to another device?
Yes, we always recommend to set up already 2 different means of authentication. When you create your EPO account, you can also add another means of authentication after you have created the account. For instance, as a fallback, you could have the email verification, then the system will send an email to you, and then you can use that as verification. So it is always recommended, because it could be also that your phone is at home, but you are at work and you would like to file or something else is happening. Of course, this can happen. So we recommend to have 2 different means, for instance, the app and SMS, or the app and an email verification, and then you can choose every time which kind of verification you would like to use.
Thank you. I think this was very clear. And I think with this, we thank you both for the moment, and for all attendees, please, if you have any further questions later on for Elke and Christina, please feel free to put them in the question and answer box, and we will answer them at the end, or try to answer them at least at the end of this session. So thank you again, Elke and Christina, for this very insightful presentation. And Christina now will stay with us, and will be joined by Satu Chubel and Camille Bodiolo, who will now, and the 3 of them will now provide an overview of the unitary pattern. So now coming to the European stage of internationally filing. This session now will explore how a single streamlined system can protect inventions across 18 EU member states, reducing costs and simplifying administration. It's particularly relevant for Japanese practitioners and innovators looking for effective patent protection in Europe. So over to you now. I think also Sato and Camille, maybe you can start with introducing yourself and telling a little bit about what you're doing, about your experiences at the EPO.
Thank you very much, Yuta, and welcome everybody to this introduction to the unitary patent system that has been launched a little bit more than 2 years ago. And I have the pleasure to head the unit that is handling and registering the requests for unitary effects. And Sato?
Good morning also from my side. My name is Sato Schubel, and I am legal expert in the Unitary Patent Division, also in the division like Camille since the beginning, 2023. My main responsibilities are updating the information on the unitary patent procedure, such as the unitary patent guidelines and the frequently asked questions on the EPO website.
So first of all, what is the unitary patent? And this is a new system that is put in place in Europe since more than 2 years, based on 2 pillars. One pillar is the registration of the unitary effect with the EPO, and the other pillar is the jurisdictional system that has been established with a court of first instance and a court of appeal. As far as the first pillar is concerned, the EPO has been tasked by the European Union to handle the unitary patent requests. This system is based on 2 EU regulations that have been adopted in the years 2012, and which delegates, if you wish, the tasks of handling the request to the EPO based on an enhanced cooperation. Therefore, not all EU member states are part of this system yet, only the ones who wished to participate in the first place. And as you can see on screen in dark blue color, we have at the moment 18 member states from the European Union that participate in the unitary patent system. They have ratified the agreement establishing the Unified Patent Court. And this Unified Patent Court ensures a uniform and harmonized jurisprudence all over these 18 member states. How is actually the unitary patent system functioning? It is a very simple concept that has been thought through. Actually, the system as you know it, the classic European patent system, remains untouched up until the grant of the European patent. And it is only at that stage when you can make up your mind as to whether you wish to validate your European patent in some of the EPC member states, you can also decide now, as another alternative, to submit a request for unitary effect and obtain unitary protection for the remainder of the life of the patent. This must be done within a very short time frame of 1 month from the publication of the grant. And the EPO will be checking if all the requirements are met for the registration of the unitary patent. Now, what are the advantages of such a solution? First of all, cost efficiency, because the renewal fee to be paid for the maintenance of the unitary patent is based on what we call a top 4, equivalent to 4 validation fees to be paid to the national offices. This equivalent, I've put this in yen on screen, to a little bit more than 3 million yen, which covers, instead of only 4, covers 18 member states. There are no other fees to be paid at the moment of registering the unitary effect. And this new title of property is very cheap to maintain in comparison with keeping up with the various European patents validated in the various national phases, of course. Less administrative efforts, one single register, and on the top you have some other advantages, such as, for instance, if you're looking for partners in Europe, then you can actually register a commitment to license and you will get a fee reduction of 15% of the renewal fee. Now, there is another very important benefit, of course, to the system, which is the legal certainty. Well, first, of course, the EPO makes at your disposal all the necessary information for you to handle your requests and other requests for rights. It's the UP guidelines. The UP guidelines have been published for the first time this year in April. But what makes, of course, the system very robust is the fact that we have, as I mentioned, only one court. We have one single title ensuring protection all over Europe for these 18 countries. And obviously, it means that there is also one single jurisdiction for cases of infringement or revocation. In addition, the office has also put into place some policies to help users and make the transition smoother. This is in particular the service that we offer on acceleration of our own opposition proceedings in cases of parallel proceedings before the Unified Patent Court. And last but not least, the system is extremely transparent. I already mentioned the register, which ensures that you have in one single place all the file from the time when you submit your application as a PCT applicant, thinking about the previous presentation, right? And all these documents are available together with also your file on unitary patent, for instance, in one single place. This is unique. And in addition, we have also provided to the user community and to the public at large a unitary patent dashboard, which shows all the trends and the use of the system. Very interesting to look at, in particular for our colleagues from Japan. I will show you a specific slide on this later. But first, I think it's very important to insist on the fact that the new court system existing in Europe is very solid and reliable. Now we can say it, because after more than 2 years, we do have a number of decisions taken by the Unified Patent Court. First of all, by the Court of First Instance, obviously, many decisions. And then we already have key decisions taken by the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court of the system. In particular, for instance, we have picked up for you 2 cases that show that the system is reliable and based also to a certain extent on the experience and the established practice that existed before the launch of the unitary patent. This is the nanostring decision to be compared with the G124 by the Enlarged Board of Appeal of the EPO. And this decision insists on the fact and confirms that the description is a key support for the interpretation of the claims. Another key decision is the VOC's decision, which shows that the gold standard on DPO regarding added matter, only what is directly and unambiguously derivable from the application as filed is to be considered, right? And there are many more decisions that we expect to be taken by the court. One question, why would the court decide differently, since actually the judges that participate, that take decisions at the Unified Patent Court are probably some of the best judges experienced in patent law in Europe, right? Now, turning to the other benefit that I mentioned earlier, the fees. Just think about the protection that typically our Japanese applicants are looking for in Europe, the main countries plus the which are part of the UP and the UK, of course. So if you look at the second column here, the protection via the EP Classic would cost, if you were to protect this European patent via the Classic system in all 18 member states of the UP plus the UK, will cost you over 4 million yen for 10 years. And if you compare this with the unitary patent, protection in 18 countries plus the UK, then it would cost you over 1 million. So you see the difference is really very important, making the system extremely attractive financially. Now, what happens since the launch of the system in June 2023? Many things, as you can see on the screen here, but I will just mention two of them. One is the accession of a new member state, Romania, in September 2024. The system started with 17 member states. We are now at 18. What does that mean? It means that if you register your unitary effect now, you are protected in all 18 member states. And more member states will join in the near future. We are certain of that. The second aspect is the fact I mentioned the UP dashboard. We have actually upgraded recently this dashboard. And as you can see on screen, this is a screenshot of the map where you can drill through Japan and have all the details you might be interested regarding the use of the system by Japanese users. Now, turning to where do we stand actually at the moment, we have actually received more requests for unitary effect this year than the whole year 2024, right? And in total, we have in force 72,689 unitary patents at the moment. What do these figures represent? Well, they represent an uptake that is of 28.3%. This means that over 28% of all European patents granted by the EPO at the moment turn into a request for unitary effect. This is a very good uptake, and we see progression everywhere, as you can see on the right-hand side. And taking, for instance, Japan, so there is some progression regarding the uptake of Japanese users, still lagging, however, behind the other IP5 countries, which are around 20% at the moment, while the European users are at almost 40% of uptake at the moment. This explains why European users make up the majority of our users of the unitary patent system, with more than 60% in total. Regarding Japan in particular, so we see on this graph that there has been a peak in the last quarter. So thank you so much. It shows that the system is becoming more popular in Japan. And on the right-hand side, you're seeing also the uptake regarding some fields of technology of interest. So very high uptakes there in 2025 so far, the highest being in food chemistry, where more than a third of Japanese users already select the unitary patent. And now it's my pleasure to give Satu the floor for more details regarding the procedure in order to obtain the unitary patent with the EPO. Thank you.
Thank you, Camille. So we start with the substantive requirements. To have a unitary patent registered, you need to fulfill the following conditions. The designation of any of the 25 participating member states should not be withdrawn. This is especially important when you think about the divisional applications, meaning that you have to have also in the divisional application the 25 participating member state as designated states. The second point is that the European patent should not contain different set of claims for any of the 25 participating member states. And the third one is that the proprietor should not be subject to the restrictive measures. Here we mean the EU sanctions on Russia. Now, moving on to the practical aspects. So the formal requirements, time limit and translation. The formal requirements for obtaining the unitary patent. The request must be filed with the EPO no later than 1 month after the mention of the grant of the European patent is published in the European Patent Bulletin. It is also possible to file an early request, but these requests will be then handled after the date of publication. For the filing itself, we have the EPO Form 7000, which you can file using the online tools. Christina will speak about this later. What we further need is the full translation of the description, claims and drawings into an EU language. This is to be English if the publication was in German or French, or in any other EU language if the publication was in English. The abstract and the sequence listing do not need to be translated. Should the claims or description be amended in the opposition or limitation proceedings, it is not required to file a new translation. This is because the translation has no legal effect and is for information purposes only. Now we go to the next slide. To the formal request, so to the content of the request. The formal request is to be filed by the proprietor of the European patent, or if there are multiple proprietors, by all of them. The request must be filed in writing and in the language of proceedings. The details of the proprietor of the European patent must be there. With this, we mean that we need the name and the complete address as they are in the European Patent Register. And with the proprietors, we mean the proprietors that each proprietor needs to be named that has designated any of the, at the moment, 18 participating member states at the time of filing the request. What we further need is the number of the European patent, meaning the publication number. And then the particulars of the representative are also to be there, because for the proprietors from a non-EPC contracting state, you will need to appoint a representative. This representative can be different than in the EP proceedings and does not need an authorization in that case. Now, to the legal remedies. What happens if you miss a certain time limit? For the substantive requirements, there is no possibility for re-establishment of rights. For example, if one of the member states was not designated. If you miss the 1 month time limit to file a request for unitary effect, you still have the possibility to request for re-establishment of rights within 2 months from removal of the cause of non-compliance. Also for the renewal fees, if the renewal fees are not being duly paid within the normal time limit or the extensional 6-month time limit, you can still file the request for re-establishment of rights. This must be filed in 1 year following the expiry of the unobserved time limit. Further processing, as you might know it from the EP proceedings, is not in place in the UP proceedings. What we have and what is similar to the EP grant procedure is the registration of transfer of rights, licenses, and right in rem. These are registered in a register for unitary patent protection. So the formal requirements are the same as in a patent grant procedure. This means that you need to file a request and evidence, and eventually a fee is due. It is not due if you file a request via MyEPO, because this service is free of charge. What is different is the fact that the unitary patent can only be transferred for all the participating member states, depending on the generation, either for the 17 or the 18 countries. And if the so-called opposition time limit or opposition proceedings are running, a transfer of rights is registered for both the European patent and the unitary patent with one request and with that possible one fee. Like the transfer of rights, also rights in rem are recorded for all participating member states. Licenses, however, may be recorded for all or part of the participating member states. What you can indicate on the Form 7000, which might be interesting for you, is a place of business. This place of business determines the applicable law for the patent as an object of property. This indication is voluntary, meaning if the applicant did not have a residence or principal place of business in a participating member state on the date of filing of the European patent application or the international application, they can indicate a place of business in a participating member state. This information must be provided together when you are filing a request for unitary effect. And on the Form 7000, there is a specific field to enter this information. This place of business must, of course, be in one of the UPCA effective member states on date of registration of the unitary effect. If you indicate something else, it is not shown in the register. And if no indication is made or can be made, the German law will apply. With this, I give further to Christina, who will show you first the register on the unitary patent protection.
Yes, we have created an additional section in our register. So most of you, I suppose, are familiar with our register. Access is on our homepage, and you can look up all public applications there, and you find legal and procedural information as well as the bibliographic data about a patent there. We have added separate sections for the unitary patent, where also all events, like you know it from the EP part, are shown, like the payment of a renewal fee and the particulars of the proprietor and their representatives. The unitary patent section for a file will be created when a request for unitary effect has been filed with the EPO. Also, in our search functionality, we have added separate fields where you can search our register for requests for unitary effect. So you can, if you have an application of interest or you would like to know what unitary patents have been filed in a certain time limit, or if you are looking for a particular file, but you do not know the patent number or the application number, but it could be that the unitary effect was filed in September, for instance, then you can search for the unitary request date. You can indicate full years, specific dates. You can enter a range, for instance, March to September 2025 or something like that. And on the right side, you see also the expected form into which you enter those dates. Also, you can search for the effect of registration. So which unitary effects has the EPO granted? Also there you can search by date, by a specific date or a time limit. On the right side, you see then how the results will be presented. If you search for patents, then all those patents will be listed. You see their unitary patent in the fourth column, and there is a little icon, this blue icon showing unitary effect is there. And then you can click on this application number and find the specifics of this file. When has the request been filed? When was it granted? And you find there information about renewal fee payment, the proprietor, any registration of licenses, and other details that are relevant for the unitary patent. On the next slide, you will see how to file your Form 7000. Satu has already indicated we have a dedicated form that is EPO Form 7000, and we have created an electronic version. So if on our homepage, under applying for a patent and My EPO services, you open the online filing 2.0 service with your multi-factor authentication, that is exactly the same way you use your EPO account with the multi-factor authentication also to open online filing 2.0. And then you can start a procedure and select here the form UP 7000. It is an electronic form and you will be guided by the system through filling out the different necessary information in this form, and then you can submit it to us electronically. The confirmation, if you have a mailbox, will be sent there. And last but not least, of course, payment instructions. You know that the request is free of charge. However, renewal fees post-grant in case of unitary patent need to be paid to the EPO. You can do that via online filing 2.0. In this case, you could set up an automatic debit order or use our Form 7038 to make single payment of the renewal fees. In our tool Central Fee Payment, that you can also access with your EPO account and multi-factor authentication, you can upload batch and single payments of renewal fees, and you can set up and withdraw also automatic debit orders. Additionally, these fees can be paid by credit card or bank transfer. Please use also the Central Fee Payment as starting point for making payments by credit card or via bank transfer. Apart from the renewal fees, of course, also under the unitary patent, fees for the registration of transfer of fee can be paid, fees for certified copy. Otherwise, you can request certified copies free of charge via the My EPO service. You can pay there the fees for registration or cancellation of licenses of rights and other rights, and the fee for reestablishment of rights, for instance, into the time limit of the payment of renewal fee with surcharge. All relevant information related to the unitary patent fees can be found on our homepage. If you type into the search field unitary patent, there is a whole section with a legal background and all information. As a snapshot, I have added here our form and how to set up an automatic debit order. You can do it there or in Central Fee Payment. Last but not least, more information. So we are to be found on the social media on our homepage. There are lots of information. There are recordings from other seminars dedicated to the multi-factor authentication, to online filing, and to other topics of interest.
Thank you very much, Camille, Christina, and Satu, for this really insightful and clear presentation. We learned how the unitary patent, now covering 18 EU member states, has quickly gained traction with now over 25, I think it was 28, you said, percent of new European patents choosing unitary protection. The session outlined the main benefits for Japanese businesses: simpler procedures, lower costs, and consistent legal certainty across participating countries. We also received practical guidance on requesting unitary effect and an overview of the tools that support users in the system. I think now we have already got a question here. Thank you very much. I think it's for Camille. The question is like, once I have opt out, can I opt in again? And if I have opt in, can I also later opt out again?
Thank you, Jutta, and thank you for asking this question. First of all, what is an opt-out? Because maybe for some of our participants, this is not so well known. The opt-out is actually the opt-out from the jurisdiction of the Unified Patent Court. This is something that may be done only for classic European patents. So if you request unitary effect, then the court has the jurisdiction and there is no opt-out possible, right? But if you have a European classic that a classic patent that you validate nationally with any of the 18 member states of the unitary patent system, for instance, in France and Germany, then you may opt out from the jurisdiction of the court, still for a period of a little bit longer than 4 years, Jutta, because this opt-out system was established for a period of 7 years, and we are now well advanced in the 3rd year, isn't it? And therefore, the period remaining for the opt-out is shrinking by the time as we talk. That's one thing to know. Then second, the opt-out can only be registered before the Unified Patent Court itself, not with the EPO, because this is an opt-out for them, right? So please do not send any request for opt-out to us. You have to look at the website from the Unified Patent Court and register your opt-out there. Now, answering to the question as to the opt-out. Yeah, an opt-out can be registered, and then you may decide actually to retract from this opt-out and withdraw this opt-out. That's what we call indeed an opt-in again, right? It can be done by the same patent proprietor, or it can be done because the right was transferred to another patent proprietor who has a different view and sees some interest in having actually the Unified Patent Court having jurisdiction over the patent, right? So there might be really different reasons to opt in, and I would like to highlight again, as I did in my presentation, right, that at the beginning there were a number of opt-outs because one didn't know yet where the Unified Patent Court would head. Yes, it was still a new jurisdiction, and some patent owners were cautious and preferred to wait and see, so to say. Now, there is no more excuse because we know that the UPC is actually a very solid court and there are no surprises here. Therefore, we actually have a lot of withdrawals, Jutta, from opt-outs at the moment, opting in again, and we have much less registrations of opt-outs, right? Finally, to conclude the answer to this question, yes, at any time until the end of this 7 years period, you can change your mind again and again and opt out and opt in again. Okay, yes, this is possible.
Okay, thank you very much, Camille, for these valuable insights. And thank you, all 3 of you, again, for that excellent overview of the unitary patent system. We will now move on, I think, to the next topic, which is closely related to the one before, Christina already mentioned a little bit of it, the European Patent Register and the information you can see about the unitary patents. So we will see what the register provides, how it provides real-time procedural and legal status data, including for the unitary patents once unitary effect is requested. Through practical case studies, you will learn how to check the progress of your own applications and how to explore others' filings to gain insight from their prosecution paths. With that, I'm pleased to hand over to our next speaker, Eva Strakova. Eva is working at the EPO with procedural data in one way or the other since over 20 years, so I would not know anybody better for this topic than her. But maybe, Eva, you could tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, thank you, Jutta. So also welcome from my side. I have joined the EPO in 2004 as formality officer in the receiving section, and since several years, I am supporting quality assurance of the European Patent Bulletin and European Patent Register. And I was previously involved in the implementation of the Unitary Patent Register and part of the European Patent Bulletin dedicated to the unitary patent procedure. So this was the brief introduction about me.
Thank you very much, Eva. Eva, when looking at patent families, I very often see EP numbers with a kind code saying CO. What does that mean?
Yes, you are right. More and more users are encountering more frequently the C0. But before we dive into the topic, I would like to start somewhere else. I would like to start actually where most of the users are starting their searches. I would like to start in Espasnet, and here we will talk about the C0, and we will talk about what it is and what it indicates. So maybe let's get started. So we are searching Espasnet, and we have found this document. And in the bibliographic data section, in subsection published as, publications from this patent family are provided. And for EP patent family members, we see document with kind code A1, which is the kind code used for the first publications. We see the B1, which is a kind code used for the granted patents. And we also see that there is a EP patent family member having C0 behind the publication number. So what is this C0 on? What does it indicate? First, let's mention what C0 is not. C0 is not EPO's official publication. C0 is simply a marker indicating that for granted European patent, unitary patent protection has been registered. And C0 will be only provided after the patent has been granted and after the unitary effect has been registered. So normally C0 should be only provided among the EP patent family members when there is also B1 provided for a particular publication number. Okay, so actually C0 is a clear indication that patent has the unitary effect registered. And now,
If I understand correctly, the C0, C means that it's the third stage after the EPA and EPB, so the third document in this row. But it is a 0 because it has no real publication, right?
Yes, correct. So C0 is not EPO's official publication. Again, C0 is a clear indication that a patent had the unitary effect registered. So this should be clear to the users when they found C0. Okay, and now let's put the C0 marker into practical use in Espasnet. So we can perform a simple search using a query PN equal EP C0. PN stands for the publication number. EP represents Publication Authority European Patent Office. And again, C0 is a special marker used by the EPO, which indicates that a European patent, once granted, had the unitary effect registered. So we run the search and we retrieve all documents with the C0 markers. So actually, we are retrieving all European patents with unitary effect registered. And the number differs from the numbers Camille provided you with because Espasnet is lagging a little bit behind with the dashboard. And as you can see, the number of patents with registered unitary effect is very high. And for this reason, it can be very helpful to use some of the filters provided by the Espasnet, such as, for example, filter for the applicant's country of origin. And after we access one of the records from the result list, we can see that the C0 marker is present after the publication number. And after clicking on the blue icon and the unitary patent in the menu, the deep link will take you to the register. And the deep link will take you to the register, and particularly to the part dedicated to the unitary patent protection, which is also referred to as Register for Unitary Patent Protection. And the point we would like to make here is that the Register for Unitary Patent Protection is a special part of the European Patent Register, and it is not a database which is standing alone. And furthermore, even though the C0 documents and the data related to unitary patents will be provided in different patent information tools, the Register for Unitary Patent Protection is governed and maintained by the EPO, by the European Patent Office, as the main source of information for unitary patent protection. So let's now fully concentrate on the Register for Unitary Patent Protection, and let's learn where to find what. Let's start with the structure of the European Patent Register. All parts starting with the EP are covering the EP procedure, and the parts starting with UP, so UP about this file, UP event history, and UP all documents provide information related to the unitary patent protection. And in order for the UP parts to be activated in the register, there are two main conditions. Patent must be granted and unitary effect must be requested. Only after the patent has been granted and the request for unitary effect has been received, the UP about this file, UP event history, and UP all documents become activated. And the legal information which is expected to be provided in the Register for Unitary Patent Protection is specified by Rule 16 of the rules related to unitary patent protection, and the link to the rules is provided on this slide. And on this slide, you see granted patent with unitary effect requested, but not yet registered. So once again, for users to see the UP part of the register, two conditions must be met. Patent must be granted and unitary effect must be requested. And the C0 marker will be provided only after the unitary effect has been registered. So the documents you see on this slide is a patent with registered unitary effect.
So that's exactly what we had a look at in Espacenet at the very beginning, right, Eva?
Yes, exactly. So C0 is a clear indication that the unitary effect has been registered. And I will now show you several slides with examples of patents with unitary effect registered to demonstrate that normally the registration of unitary effect follows almost immediately the request for unitary effect. And very often the request for unitary effect and the registration of the unitary effect are both announced in the same issue of the European Patent Bulletin, which is also one of the EPO's official publications. In this example, the request for unitary effect was filed on 8 September 2025, and the unitary effect was registered on 15th of September 2025, and both the request and the registration were announced in the same bulletin issue number 42. Let me show you a few more examples. In this slide, you see that only 3 days after the request for unitary effect has been filed, the positive decision has been already issued, and both the request and the registration of the unitary effect have been announced in the same bulletin issue, which is in this case the issue number 41. Also, in this case, there were only 3 days between filing of the request for unitary effect and the registration of the unitary effect. And we have many, many examples like this. So we also have colleagues from the Unitary Patent Protection Division here with us. So please correct me if I'm wrong, but it appears that in case all the requirements are okay, the unitary effect is registered very, very quickly. Now let's move part of the register called UP Event History. UP Event History contains events related to unitary patent protection. All events in the UP Event History are made available weekly. It is either on Friday, but latest on Monday. And you can be notified by the register alert when a new event is made available in the UP Event History. We will talk about register alert later. Now let's have a look at the part of the register called UP All Documents. UP All Documents serves as an online file inspection for public documents received or dispatched in connection to the unitary patent protection, you can receive a dossier alert for new documents made available in the UP document. And we will show you later how the dossier alert works. So this was a brief introduction of the Register for Unitary Patent Protection, but let's learn now more with some practical questions and examples.
Exactly. I would have already a question for you. Many applicants are searching for patents with unitary effect, also to study these files and to learn from already registered cases. Can you please show us how to search in the register for patents with unitary effect and how to use online file inspection for them?
Mhm. Okay, so this is very easy. Christina has shown you before. I will provide you with a little bit more details, so I will show you now. Please go to the Register Advanced Search, and in the search field called Unitary Effect Registration Date, please enter the expressions yes or true, or the year of the registration, or even a precise date of the registration of the unitary effect. Then you simply hit enter and you run the search. And on this slide, we have also included the link to the Advanced Search Mask in case you want to practice, and to the corresponding help information. And this is your result list. After you click on the title of the record listed in your result list, you will be taken to the document view. And as you can see, searching for patents with unitary effect in the register is very simple.
Thank you. It looks very, very easy. But another question which goes more into details. I think one idea of the unitary patent scheme was to foster innovation, including licensing. When the proprietor indicates to the EPO willingness to license his or her patent, then the renewal fees for the unitary effect years are reduced. Can it be searched whether a company is willing to license or is licensing? Or can we also find out which type of license has been registered? Please show me how to gather any additional information related to licensing.
Yes, first, not such a good news is that currently the willingness to license is not searchable in the register. It is, however, very easy to check whether for a particular unitary patent the proprietor is willing to license or is already licensing. And furthermore, in the online file inspection, other useful documentation relating to licensing can be found. Let me show you how you can find this information. To find out whether a proprietor has indicated willingness to license, you simply search for the document. And after you find the document, you need to go to UP about this file. And if the proprietor is willing to license this particular unitary patent, then the section called Licenses of Right will be provided. And the section will contain the date of filing of the statement concerning licenses of right, which in practice means that the proprietor is willing to license this patent with unitary effect. Okay, it is also very easy to find out whether the proprietor has already registered any licenses for particular unitary patent with the EPO. And again, to find out, simply search with the document number, go to UP about this file, and in the section licenses, you will see whether there has been a license registered and which type of license. So on this slide, you see an example of an exclusive license registered for unitary patent, the states for which the exclusive license has been registered, the licensing name and address, and the date of the license registration. You can also view the documents submitted in connection to license registration by accessing the UP All Documents. And again, UP All Documents contain all public incoming and outgoing documents and communications related to unitary patent protection.
Thank you very much for explaining us to find information about licensing. Another important point of a unitary patent or any patent is the change of ownership, or actually who owns it or who used to own it. How do I can find out whether the unitary patent has changed hands? And could I also find out who was the former proprietor? Please show me how to find all this documentation submitted in connection to the transfer of rights.
Okay, of course. Yeah, this is also very simple. I will show you. So to find out whether unitary patent has changed hands, you search for the document you are interested in, then you access UP about this file, and in the proprietor section, if there was a change of ownership of the unitary patent, below the details of the proprietor expression transfer of rights will be provided. And the number you see before the expression transfer of rights, in this case, it's the number 2025/39, is the European Patent Bulletin issue number where the transfer of ownership of the unitary patent was announced. And to find out who was the former proprietor, you have to click on the Show History button in the upper toolbar menu. And once you have clicked on the Show History button, you will be provided, in addition to the details of the most recent proprietor, also with the details of the former proprietor. So in this case, the company Glycotop GmbH transferred the ownership of the unitary patent to Daiichi Sankyo Co. Limited. And the users, which could be also the applicants themselves, they can be notified with a register alert email notification in case they are already monitoring this document in the register. And it is not uncommon that also the applicants are using the monitoring options provided by the register to monitor their own files. And if there is a public documentation supporting the transfer of rights, it will be made available in UPL documents. If you choose to monitor the document using Dossier alert service, you can be notified when a new document is added to online file inspection.
Oh, this sounds very easy to do myself, I think. And another question, another feature I would like to know how to search. Many users and myself, very often we need the information about renewal fee payment, especially for the freedom to operate searches. Where can we check whether the proprietor still pays the renewal fees also for the unitary effect years? And what about the information, should it have been lapsed? Where can we check this?
Yes, renewal fee payment information or lapse information is definitely crucial for the freedom to operate searches. So let me show you where you will find all of this information. On this slide, you see an example of patent with unitary effect lapsed. In UP About This File section called Renewal Fees Not Paid, Unitary Patent Protection Lapse will get activated after the basic time limit for payment of the renewal fees for unitary effect is over and the payment was not received. And also after this basic period is over, the communication about the non-payment of the renewal fees and the possibility to pay with the additional fee is dispatched. And after the deadline for the payment of the renewal fee with the additional fee is over and the payment was not received, then the unitary effect has lapsed. And the legal date of the lapse is then provided in the section called Lapse of Unitary Effect. However, as Satu has mentioned in her presentation, the request for establishment can be requested as a legal remedy. And there are two special events corresponding to the information provided in the two sections I have shown you on the previous slide. These events are made available in the UP event history. And the dates you see here are not the dates of legal effect of these events. They're simply the dates when the events were processed and made available in the UP event history part of the register. Also, these events can generate a register alert. And in UP All Documents, the communication related to the possible payment of the renewal fee with additional fee and the communication about the lapse of the unitary effect will be made available to the public. And also these documents can generate Dossier alert. On this slide, you see an example of unitary patent with renewal fees for unitary effect years paid. And the information about the payment of the renewal fees for the unitary effect years is provided in UP About This File in section Renewal Fees Paid. And the renewal fees for the unitary effect years will also have special events made available in the UP Event History section. And as all other published events, they can generate register alert email notifications.
Thank you very much, Eva. Now we learned so many details about how to check information on proprietors, on change of ownership, on fee payments, on licensing, etc. But to search this all the time for the patents I'm interested in is really cumbersome. You mentioned several times that you can do monitoring and there are some things like alerts. Can you show me how to do this?
Yes, monitoring documents in the register is very important to the users as well as to applicants themselves. So I will explain to you now how the monitoring and also download work in the register. So there are two monitoring options in the register. First monitoring option is register alert. A register alert is based on the events made visible in the EP or UP event history section of the register. Only events made available in EP or UP event history sections can generate a register alert. And the register alert will allow you to monitor up to 5,000 files. You can choose from different monitoring profiles. After you start monitoring a file with register alert, and there is a new event made available in the EP or UP event history section of the register, you will receive an email notification. But please know that the monitoring will only start after the document has been added to the list of the applications you are monitoring in your register alert account. And the screenshot on this slide shows the login page for the register alert. If you do not have a register alert account yet, this is also the page where you can open your account from. Okay, we have included the link to this landing page on this slide. And this slide shows available monitoring profiles in your register alert account settings. You can choose to monitor all events, so all events from the European Patent Grant Procedure or Unitary Patent Protection Procedure. You can monitor only the main events. These are substantial events which change the status of the application in the register, such as patent has been granted, application is refused, or unitary effect has been registered. You can also monitor only the events which are published in the European Patent Bulletin, and you can also choose to monitor only the events from the Unitary Patent Protection Procedure. And if you would like to see all the events which can be made available in the register, we have included the link where you can inspect all of these events. So I would now like to show you an example. Let's go to the document where the renewal fees for unitary effect year have been recently paid. I'm monitoring this file with register alert. On 26th of September, an event about the new payment of the renewal fee for the unitary effect year has been processed and made available in the UP event history section of the register. And because I am already monitoring this document with register alert, and because I'm monitoring all events, so all events published either in EP or UP event history section of the register, I should be notified via register email notification. And I was notified immediately after the event was made available in the register. I received an email notification about the payment of the renewal fee for the unitary effect year. So I will now quickly sum up for the register alert. Register alert is based on the events made available in the EP or UP event history section of the register. And only the events made available in these two sections can generate a register alert email. And the monitoring will start for the new events which are made available in the EP or UP event history section after the document has been added to the list of the monitored application in your register alert account. So that was the monitoring option number 1. So now let's talk about the second monitoring option. Option 2 is called dossier alert. We also call it document alert. And dossier alert is based on new documents added to register online file inspections, so to sections EP all documents or UP all documents. And subscription is very simple. In the register, you simply access either the UP all document section or EP all document section. You click on the email icon, you enter your email address, and then you await email prompting you to confirm the subscription. And on this slide, you see a screenshot of a file which I'm already monitoring with dossier alert. And after a new document was added to UP all document section of the register, I received an email notification. Also here, it is important to mention that you will only start receiving alert for the documents which have been added to the register online file inspection after you confirm the subscription for the dossier alert for a particular file. And again, because I am already monitoring the file via dossier alert, after a new document was added to UP all documents, I have received email notification for this newly added document, and the example of an email is provided on this slide. And once again, you will only start receiving dossier alert notifications for the documents added to EP or UP all documents after the subscription, so not for the documents which were added to online file inspection before you have subscribed. And we receive a lot of questions from the users, such as I'm monitoring application using register alert, and I have seen there was a document added to EP all documents section, and I was not notified. Why? Or I'm monitoring an application with dossier alert, and I have seen a new event, for example, event for lapses published in the register. why I was not notified with the dossier alert. So let me explain why is that. Register alert and dossier alerts are technically two separate mechanisms. Register alert is based on events published in EP or UP event history sections, and dossier alert is based on new documents added to register online file inspection, so to sections EP or UP all documents. However, not every event published in the EP or UP event history section has a corresponding document added to EP or UP all documents section, and vice versa. Not every document added to EP or UP all documents will have a corresponding event added to EP or UP event history sections of the register. These two alert services complement each other, and we recommend combining these two alerting mechanisms to accomplish better monitoring coverage. And let me show you on a real example. So on the left side, you see the screenshot from EP event history, where the most recent events are lapses in the contracting states. On the right side, you see a screenshot from EP all documents, where the last document is the communication related to the termination in the opposition procedure. If you are only monitoring the file using dossier alert services, you will be notified that the communication related to the termination of the opposition was added to the register online file inspection, but you will not be notified about the lapse events published in the EP event history. And if you are only using the register alert, you will be notified about the lapses, but not about the communication about the termination of the opposition. So as you can see, for this reason, we recommend combining both monitoring options available in the register. So register alert combined with the dossier alert service. And I hope you find the information about the monitoring options useful. And if it's okay, I would still like to briefly talk about the download options in the register. So if you would like to download all or any of the documents made available in the EP or UP all documents part of the register, please select the documents you want to download, then click on selected documents, and you will be provided with one single PDF containing all documents you have selected. If you would like to download all or some documents as separate PDFs, then first select the documents you would like to download, then click on Zip Archive, and then you will be provided with a zip file containing all selected documents as separate PDFs. And as you can see, also downloading the documents in the register is very simple. And I hope we still have time, and I would like to quickly update you also on the register support material. We have recently reviewed our support materials. We have updated the menu for the European Patent Register and updated several FAQs and help files. So we hope you will find our support material useful. And if you will not find your answers in the support material, please contact us anytime using our contact form or using the contact details on this slide. And we will try to answer your inquiry as quickly as possible. So this was the last slide from me about the register for unitary patent protection. So thank you very much for your attention. And Jutta, I would like to give the floor back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eva, for the presentation on the European Patent Register. I think we saw very clearly how the register gives direct access to procedural and legal status information, as well as electronic files of the published applications, including unitary patents, once unitary effect is requested. The case studies clearly showed how users can review their own applications or study those of others to gain insight and inspirations from real prosecution journeys, and also monitor what has been going on. Thank you again to our speaker and to everyone who joined. And now it's over to all of you for the questions. I think we have not a question yet to the European Patent Register. So I will open up now for questions for, which have been remaining here for everybody of you. And I would invite all the participants to put their questions, if they have any yet, in the question and answer box. But please also remember, today will be not your last chance to ask us questions or to get in contact with us. We are always happy to hear from you any questions, comments, or needs, either via our contact form or directly via the email support@epo.org. You're also welcome to ask your questions also in Japanese. There's still some open question. I think I have here one for you, Elke. It's a question about submitting an application or file. Can we use also the PCT link systems to submit a response during the procedure, I think, to the EPO? If yes, how can we do it?
Yes, Jutta. So, first of all, the PCT link system is only a system for communications going to the mailbox. So it's about the EPO issuing communications and sending them to the applicant or agent. If you want to submit something to the EPO, so send a response to the EPO, you have to use our filing tools. So there it's online filing 2.0. The tool, the best choice that you can take there for submitting any communications to us. Of course, what is also possible in the PCT phase, you can use ePCT offered from WIPO, and there you have the option to upload your documents that you wish to be sent to the EPO acting as ISA or IPA.
Thank you very much. And then there was a question going to Camille, I think, for the explanations you gave before on the opt-in and opt-out. Is it not true that the period of opt-out might be extended? Is this fitting discussion, Camille?
Thank you, Jutta. And this is a follow-up of the previous question, maybe by the same person, right? Who is very interested in the opt-out system. Indeed, there is a clause of revision that allows the member states to discuss and decide, so now in 4 years' time, whether they wish to extend by one last time, so it's only once that this could be extended for a further period of 7 years. But this is not yet, of course, known what the outcome would be and therefore, whether this opt-out system will be indeed extended. Yeah, and before giving you back the floor, I would just take the opportunity because it was mentioned by Eva in her presentation that indeed in the Unitary Patent Division, we're trying to do our best to register the request for unitary effect within 7 days. So quite quickly after you've submitted your requests, normally you should see the miracle happening and the entry being published in the UP register that was just shown to you. Thank you.
That's indeed very impressive, those few days only. I think we saw even quicker ones. And there is a last question here about like how quickly you will receive the recordings of this seminar. We will give our best to do it as quick as possible, but latest at the beginning of next week. So please give us a few days to prepare the recordings to being sent out. And then we have another question. It's like, is the uptake of Japanese companies of the UP system getting higher? I think
Actually, it is, Jutta, increasing over 10% in the last 2-3 months. So we're very optimistic. You know, it took more time maybe for our Japanese friends to catch up with the new system. But I do believe that the trends are there now and we're confident for the future. So yes, absolutely.
So thank you everybody for using it. And thank you, Camille. And I think, unfortunately, with this, it's already the time to wrap up today's program. But please remember, there's always the possibility to ask us questions or anything, comments you might have. But for now, I would like to sincerely thank all our speakers of today and all you for having attended our seminar for today. We have explored today everything from international and PCT filings to electronic communications, unitary patent, and the European Patent Register. I hope you all leave today with practical insights, useful tools, and a clearer understanding of how to protect your innovations efficiently in Europe. Today has shown us that navigating the European patent system can be simpler, more cost-effective, and legally certain than ever before. Thank you again to our speakers for their guidance and to all of you for your engagement. We look forward to seeing you at future events and continuing this exciting journey together. And as last small reminder, please kindly fill in the feedback form for which you will be able to click a link upon leaving this session. ご参加いただいて心からありがとうございます。Thank you for having joined us today and have a nice remainder of the day.